Right now, standing still, you are running two clocks. One is at your head. One is at your feet. They are not keeping the same time. This is not a metaphor. In September 2010, a team of physicists at the National Institute of Standards and Technology placed two of the most precise clocks ever built just 33 centimeters apart in height. About the distance from your kitchen counter to your elbow. They measured something that should feel impossible. The lower clock ran slower. Time itself moved differently across a gap smaller than a ruler. The lead researcher, Chinwen Chu, described detecting a time difference of, in his exact words, about 90 billionths of a second over a height difference of about 1 foot. 90 nanoseconds per year per foot of elevation. The top of your skull is aging fractionally faster than your toes. Every single second you have been alive. The effect is tiny, you will never feel it. Never notice it, but tiny is not the same as imaginary. The National Institute of Standards and Technology measured it. The clocks proved it. The universe does not treat your head and your feet as the same location in time. This is not a quirk of the clocks. It is a property of gravity itself. Gravity does not just pull things downward. It pulls time downward too. Albert Einstein predicted exactly this in November 1915, when he presented his general theory of relativity to the Prussian Academy of Sciences. It took humanity a century to build instruments precise enough to confirm it at human scales. Which raises the real question. If gravity warps time across 33 centimeters of ordinary space, what happens when gravity becomes truly extreme? Here's why your clock runs slow. Every mass in the universe bends the space around it. Every planet, every star, every grain of sand. Not metaphorically, physically, Einstein worked this out in November 1915, presenting his field equations to the Prussian Academy of Sciences. And the conclusion was strange enough to stop a room cold. Gravity is not a force reaching out and pulling you down. It is a curve, a dent in the fabric of spacetime itself. Think of it this way. Spacetime is like a taut sheet. Earth is a heavy ball resting at the center. The sheet sags beneath it. Everything nearby follows that sag. Light, matter, time. The deeper you sit inside that dent, the slower your clock ticks. Not because something is wrong with the clock, because time itself is thicker down there. Robert Pound and Glenn Repka proved this in 1959 at Harvard's Jefferson Laboratory. They measured time running at different speeds across just 5 meters of vertical distance. A stairwell, essentially. The universe was doing something measurable inside a building. But here is where it gets strange. The dent is not uniform. The floor of that building sits deeper inside Earth's gravitational curve than the ceiling does. Closer to the mass means more curve. More curve means more spacetime to wade through per second. More spacetime per second means slower ticking. Every extra meter of height is one small step out of the dent. One small acceleration of your clock. This is not a rounding error. GPS satellites orbit at 20,000 kilometers altitude, up there. Earth's dent barely touches them. Their clocks run faster by about 45 microseconds per day, and engineers must correct for this constantly. Without correction, every navigation system on Earth drifts wrong within minutes. The mechanism is real, measurable, and universal. So if 33 centimeters of height difference moves a clock, what happens when the dent is not shallow, but infinite? What does time do inside a black hole, where the curve never ends? In September 2010, a small team at the National Institute of Standards and Technology in Boulder, Colorado, placed two clocks 33 centimeters apart and watched time itself split. The physicist leading that work was Chinwen Chu. His team built aluminium-ion optical clocks so precise they could detect a single second of drift across 300 million years. These were not clocks you could buy. They were cages of laser light, trapping individual atoms inside a vacuum. Here is what they found. The clock sitting higher ran measurably faster. Not by a guess, not by a theory. by 90 billionths of a second per year for every 10 meters of height difference. Confirmed in print in the journal Science. Chu himself described it plainly. We have detected a time difference at the level of about 90 billionths of a second over a height difference of about 1 foot. 1 foot, the distance from your kitchen counter to your hip. But here is where it gets strange. This effect does not stay in the laboratory. It is already inside the technology in your pocket. Every GPS satellite orbiting Earth runs its clock slightly faster than a clock on the ground because it sits higher in Earth's gravity well. Engineers knew this before the first GPS satellite launched in 1977. So they built a correction directly into the system. According to NASA documentation, without that daily relativistic adjustment, GPS navigation would drift by 10 kilometers every single day. 10 kilometers, the wrong hospital. The wrong road, the wrong city. The engineers who designed those satellites were not doing philosophy. They were doing accounting, balancing the books of a universe where altitude changes time. So here is the question that Chapter 4 has to answer. If 33 centimeters produces a measurable split, and a satellite orbit demands a daily correction, what happens when gravity becomes truly savage? Near a neutron star, or at the very edge of a black hole? How extreme does the difference become? Take everything you just learned and stretch it to its breaking point. On Earth, the effect is measured in nanoseconds. Elegant, precise, almost gentle, but the same equation that governed the NIST experiment in Boulder has no upper limit. Feed it stronger gravity, and the numbers stop being gentle very quickly. A neutron star is what remains after a massive star collapses. It packs more mass than our sun into a sphere the size of a city. The gravity at its surface is 200 billion times stronger than what you feel standing on Earth. Not 200 times, 200 billion. Run Einstein's field equations at that gravity, and time dilation becomes staggering. 1 year spent on the surface of a neutron star corresponds to 4 years passing in open space. Far from any mass, your twin floats in the dark for 14 months. You age 12. A neutron star still has a surface. A black hole does not. At the boundary, physicists call the event horizon, the point of no return. The mathematics does something that should stop you cold. Time dilation becomes infinite. A clock falling toward that boundary would appear, to anyone watching from a safe distance, to slow down, then slower. Then slower still, it would never appear to cross. From outside it freezes permanently. This is not a metaphor. It is the direct mathematical output of the same equation that measured 33 centimeters in Colorado. And yet, physicists cannot reconcile that smooth geometry with quantum mechanics at the smallest scales. The deepest structure of time itself remains genuinely unsolved. The universe may contain places where time, as you experience it, simply stops. What that means for matter, for information, for existence, is the question that the next chapter has to answer. You already know the answer. You have known it since the first seconds of this video. The top of your head is older than your feet. Right now, every second you sit here, that gap widens by a whisper. Over an entire human lifetime, 80 years of standing, walking, sleeping, your head ages 90 billionths of a second more than your feet. 90 nanoseconds, you will never feel it. You will never lose sleep over it. But it is real and it has been measured. Here is what that number actually means. Time is not a river flowing at the same speed everywhere. It behaves more like fabric, and every mass in the universe, including the one you are standing on, pulls that fabric slightly out of shape. You are one of those masses. Gravity bends time around you. That is not poetry, that is what Chin-Wen Chu and his colleagues at NIST confirmed in September 2010. With clocks separated by 33 centimeters. The universe does not make exceptions for small things. Think about the person you were before this video started. Standing still, unaware, not moving through space in any dramatic way. And yet not standing still in time at all. Never once in your entire life have you experienced time the way the person standing next to you has. Every living thing on this planet runs its own clock. Bent by height, bent by mass, bent by the curve of space beneath its feet. The Earth itself is the reason. 4,000 miles of rock and iron, warping time for everything that lives on its surface. Somewhere tonight, in a quiet laboratory, an atomic clock glows in the dark. It ticks at its own rate, indifferent to whether anyone is watching. It measures a universe that bends even when nobody asks it to. That clock does not care about the size of the number. It just tells the truth. Subscribe for new breakdown like this every day.